welcome to YA Studios. So, on today's session, I'm going to be talking about the power of self development. The power of self development. And in today's session, we're going to be looking at um, what is self development, what are some of the ways of developing oneself, and um, the benefits of self development. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at these three headings shortly, and I entreat each and every one of you to stay tuned and watch. Stay tuned to the end of the session. Okay, so what is self development? Self development is engaging in activities that help you to become the best version of yourself. That's what self development is. Engaging in activities that help you become a better version of yourself. Yes. So self development can actually take place in various areas. Every area of your life, you can develop yourself, be it in your relationships, your finances, your vocabulary, your dressing. Yeah, you can develop yourself. So, what are some of the ways through which one can develop himself? Number one is by reading books or listening to audio clips or watching videos. Yes, by reading books, by reading books, and or listening to audio messages or video clips, and all of this can be categorized under one point, that is by knowledge. You can develop yourself by knowledge. You can acquire knowledge by reading books, number one, listening to audio clips, number two, and number three, listening to video clips on the particular subjects that you want to um, develop yourself in, become better in. As I said earlier, the goal of self development is to become better, a best version of yourself. So, for instance, the year 2026 has begun, and so usually what happens is that people say we are being told, oh, write your goals, New Year resolutions, what are called New Year resolutions. Write goals for yourself. Yeah. So, and make sure that you take action, be determined. This is good. Yeah, and I encourage people to do it. So, but usually, how you should do it is that, for instance, we were in 2024, right? 2025, sorry, we're in 2025. So, what you should do is that before we enter 2026, you should have, you know, yes, sorry for that break. So, what you should do is that, okay, you should have done that. Okay, personally, what I would do is that I will start um, from last year, 2025, get into December. Now begin to make plans concerning what I was going to do. Yeah, one person has joined. You are welcome to this live stream. Yeah, so my name is Joel Geston. What we talk about is this is YA Studios. Please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. So, what I'm saying is that I was talking about self development. So, one of the ways we develop ourselves, so as I said, one of the ways you develop yourself in any area of your life is by knowledge, acquiring knowledge in that particular area of your life. Yes. And number two is by observation. Observation. As you can observe your surroundings, observe um, specific people that you admire, that you hope to become like, and then you observe their culture, what it is that they do. What we must understand is that every great person has a culture. Every great person has a culture. Every great person we see has a culture. Yes, for instance, the greatest YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast, he has a culture. From the time he started up till now, yes, he has a culture. I Show Speed has a culture. And all of the great people we see in media, in business, business moguls, they all have cultures. Yes, motivational speakers, Brian Tracy, all of these men have cultures. And one of the ways you can develop yourself is by identifying these particular people that you admire, and then you take action. You study their culture. By studying their culture, you now come to you analyze, so what do these people do, and then you now learn that and inculcate it into your own life and practice it, practice those cultures, so you become like those people. Yeah. So number two is what? By observation. By observation. Yeah. So these are some of the ways that we can develop ourselves. And lastly, I will say practice. Yes, you don't truly develop yourself by just acquiring knowledge, observing people, and not practicing. No, where you develop yourself is by practice. You practice whatever it is, whatever knowledge that you acquire, you practice. You practice whatever knowledge that you have acquired. The people you have observed, the great people that you hope to become like. For instance, you have started a YouTube channel, you hope to become like Mr. Beast, I Show Speed, and all of these great people. Yes. After you have watched some of their interviews, after you have studied them personally, if you have the privilege to interact with them one on one, what you do is that you now practice what it is that you have learned from all of these two previous headings, these points. Yes. So, what are some of the benefits of self development? What are some of the benefits of developing yourself? So, mainly, as I said, as I defined previously, I said self development is engaging in activities that help you become a better version of yourself. So, the main benefit of developing yourself is that you become a better version of yourself in any area of your life that you set your a target to develop yourself. You become better in those areas. For instance, if you realize that um, one of your gifts is that, please, sorry for that break, I had to attend to something. So as I was saying, um, you want to become a popular speaker, a public speaker, a public speaker. Yes, you realize that that is one of your talents, but you realize that as at this moment you are shy. When you stand before a crowd, you are not bold. You start shaking. So what do? As I said, acquire knowledge by reading books of public speakers, you know, watching video clips, their interviews, and then you observe people, close public speakers to you, and then you practice. You observe them and you look at their cultures. You ask them questions, and then you now practice what it is that you know these people have. You have learned from these people or this particular person. An individual, so you now practice it. Yes. And as you begin to practice, for instance, they can tell you that, oh, begin to visualize in your mind you standing before people and boldly and speaking boldly without shaking. Please, sorry for the break. Yeah, so as I was speaking in that example, you want to become a public speaker. So you identify the particular person that you want to become like in public speaking. And after you have identified that person, you learn from them, watch their interviews on YouTube, read their books. Then the third thing you begin to do is that, really, please, sorry for the break in live streaming. I'm very sorry for that. So, as I was speaking, after you have identified the people in the public speaking space, that you have read their books, you have listened to their audio tapes, and you are now, the third thing that is left for you is to practice. Yes, practice. You may have learned from your the person that you admire, that you visualize yourself speaking boldly in your mind. You begin to practice that daily. As you practice it, you realize that you become better. Yes, you become better. You become better in public speaking. Sorry for the break in the live streaming. I had to attend to something. So as I was saying, as you begin to practice that, the things that you have learned from the public speaker that you admire by listening to their audio clips, their interviews on YouTube, and you have read their books. So, for instance, as I give an example that the person you may have learned that the person said, or if you have the you met the person or you have watched the books, and one of the things you have identified is that the person told you that you should visualize yourself in your mind, speaking to crowds boldly. Yes, visualize yourself in your mind speaking to crowds boldly. So as you do that and you do that and you now practice it, one of the things you will do is that you will now begin to take action whenever maybe an opportunity is given for someone to speak to crowds. I'm sorry for that break and interruption again. I'm sorry. So you now begin to practice it. You are in an organization or in an environment where they are looking for a volunteer to speak to crowds. So you now be bold and courageous enough to what to move out, to step out, and then take that role, play that role. You realize that as you begin to play that role over and over again, you become better in public speaking. Yes. So today we have learnt about self-development. We learned that self-development is the for those of you who just joined, you are welcome. We learned that self-development is refers to engaging in those activities that help you become a better version of yourself. And we also learned about ways of developing yourself. We learned that number one, we develop ourselves through knowledge. Number two, by observation, and number three, by practice. We also looked at some of the benefits of um, the main benefits of developing yourself. I said that is that when you develop yourself, you become a better version of yourself.